Welcome back, guys. Tyson here. As you can tell by the thumbnail, we are working on the front suspension today. Got everything pretty much laid out here, nice and neat. I'll probably just film one side, and you'll obviously know how the other goes by how I do the first one. But just to run down on the parts a little bit, I've got the 9010 Calvert drag race shocks. These control arms came from OPGI. And I don't remember the brand. I think they may have been like the OPGI brand, because they were kind of a lower end, middle of the road type application, you know what I mean? Just a little more expensive than the stock ones, which I had to replace anyway. If you guys saw the first suspension video, or the other front suspension video, I don't remember what series it was, but anyway, yeah, I just got something a little on the cheaper end, middle of the road, but still tubular, so it should save a little weight, a little more strength. And I have the disc brake conversion kit from Leeds, L-E-E-D-S. That's here. These are Moroso trick springs, trick front springs. Probably upside down, but it says Moroso. And then I have a new steering box as well, and the steering pieces right there too. Sorry, I can't remember the name on top of my head, but that's it there. And then I have the rest of the stuff over here. A little sneak peek of the rear for you there. This will be kind of the remaining hardware for all the disc brake stuff. I didn't want to just set it over there. Little dust caps for the end of the wheels, spindles, whatever there. And then this is a bushing kit that I originally ordered for the car that I don't think I'm going to need. There's just going to be a few pieces out of here, like this is a piece of the steering linkage as well. So there's going to be some stuff I need out of here, but not much, because a lot of that stuff I got brand new on the parts that I ordered. So just a heads up to anybody else who's doing this on any type of car, if you figure out all the stuff you're going to order, and you'll save yourself some money by reordering stuff or having duplicates like I do over there. So just a heads up on that. Probably going to be a ton of time lapse. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll get to work. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you something real quick. So what I ended up doing, I started on this side over here. Obviously the tops went in perfectly, the top A-arms there, upper, I guess is the correct terminology, but the lower one, I was having a really hard time getting it in there. It just wasn't, it's just a little off. I don't know if I can do this while I got you on camera here, I'm by myself, but, so like when you get, it's just a little too, yeah, you can't see it very well, but suffice to say, these are too wide, just by, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or so to fit in there. So it's like I've been knocking this one a little bit that way. You can probably see it, maybe. Yeah, you see how this tab right here kind of bends out. I tried to work this one in a little bit too, just to try and massage it in there. But it wasn't going very well, so I decided to try this side because it seemed to line up a little better, just to make sure I've got the right kind of parts. You know, if I figured if I can get this one in well, then okay, I've got the right parts, and there might be a little issue with that frame because I know this car has had some front end damage. So what I did was I got my ratchet strap here and just kind of tied it to here, so it basically pulls up and back, and it's not super tight, but it's tight enough to where I got the jack under this, so I can start jacking this up, which you can see I did. And then this kind of automatically pulls back for me to pull it back and up into the mounts. And I'm pretty close. I don't know if you can see that. That one's just off a little bit. Grab my flashlight here. You can see that one's just a little off. So it needs to come, you know, towards me and up just a hair. And this one here kind of needs to do the same, just needs to come up and forward a hair. So it looks like this one will actually work pretty good. I just didn't know if you guys could see that very well in the time lapse. You know, if you're having trouble with yours, and I guess this could apply to any car, honestly. you know, that seemed to work out well for me. It was just one of those things I was like, well, let me give it a shot. And it seems to have worked out pretty well. But I'll go ahead and put you guys back on time lapse while I just work the remainder of this in and then try and get those bolts through there and, you know, start assembling this whole side here. So stick around. Alright guys, let me show you something here. This has been kicking my rear end for the family friendly crowd for the better part of 2 or 3 hours. So I was able to get the spring in with the compressor tool, as you guys saw. And this little piece goes basically through here, through there like that. Oops, sorry. And then vertical up through this piece here. This piece got trapped inside the spring and I could not get it out. From what I understand, the way you're supposed to get it out is just pull it out through one of the sides of the spring here, or I guess the bottom or the top, which didn't work. I couldn't get it out through the bottom or the top. So I ended up using these ratchet straps to pull on the top of the spring, and then I had one down here on the bottom. And then I just tied them to the frame so the frame didn't move around. Cranked them, and I finally got enough distance to get this thing out of here. This big block, which is basically an inch, this distance from here to here, my fingers, to get an inch of space into here to pull this thing out, which I finally got. So I just have to get rid of the ratchet straps and then I can pull this piece out. But I wanted to show you the whole setup I had to go through to do that. I mean, I tried using like a block of wood as a wedge to pound in there to give me some, and I just pried on it with this and a t-shirt to protect the spring a little bit, and then this seemed to be the best option here. So just a quick heads up, man, if you got these types of springs in this tight of an area. And then I also loosened these a little bit too, sorry, I forgot. This one and this one, I just loosened them up a little bit to give the spring a little more room to expand. Then I pulled on them with the ratchet straps and should be good to go now. So I'm just gonna get rid of the ratchet straps, get this thing out of there, and then we should be good to go to keep moving. Get the spindles and stuff, the disc brake kits right here. I had to read up on that to make sure I get all the greasing stuff right, and I still got to hit all those little, I believe they're called the Zerk fittings. These guys here. There's a couple like up here. There's one there, and then these guys up here. Bang, bang. And then we'll get that worked in. I may get the shock in first, now that I'm looking at it, which should come up through this hole here that's covered by the ratchet strap. You can see it on that side over there. So through this hole I should be able to just slide it up through the bottom once I get the ratchet strap out of there. But I did have to make some modifications. I had to go get some screws, which should work, from Lowe's, and then I had to enlarge these holes a little bit. I don't know if you can see where my finger's covering one of them, and the one of them's open there. So you can see both of them there. So these holes I had to enlarge a little bit to get to fit these A-arms, the lower control arms. So there's that. So I'll slide those up, get those in, then we'll start working on the disc brakes and keep it moving for you guys. So stay tuned. Alright guys, just wanted to check in real quick. Got pretty much everything installed and torqued down here. You can see the back of that steering arm, the black piece here that I installed. I don't know if you can see that very good in the time lapse, but that's it. So basically now I have to pack bearings and put the bearings, inner goes in here, outer goes right in there, and then a grease cap goes on the back. And these are my bearings right here. You're just not going to be able to see this very good on the time lapse, I'm guessing. So just want to give you a heads up on what I'm doing there. You'll see me pack these bearings real quick. First I got to clean the rotors with some brake clean there. Clean the rotors up, then I'll go ahead and put a little grease in the race there, get the bearing in, get the cap on, a little bit of grease on the back side of the cap. And that's the back of my cap right there. Or, sorry, that's the back side of it. Get that on, get the outer bearing on, and then put the nut and the cotter pin and whatnot, washer, dust caps, which are somewhere. I'll have to find those. And then we should be able to install the caliper, rotors. This thing should be pretty close to complete, outside of the steering linkages and all that. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll get to work. Alright guys, so this is pretty much one side of the suspension complete. See, I got my A-arms in, shock absorbers in the middle there, my 9010 calverts. I did end up taking off the mount for the sway bar here, because I don't plan to run a sway bar on the front end. But yeah, you can see the back with the mounting plates for the caliper and the dust shield. Got my steering arm here, rotors in, bearings are packed, good to go. As you can see, it spins pretty freely, no problem there. So yeah, I just have to do the other side, and then I'll get the rest of this done, and then I'll put out a video on the probably all the steering stuff, because I got a new steering box, new linkages, tie rods, and all that. So yeah, stay tuned for that next video. As always guys, thanks for watching. Please continue to comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps us out, and we'll catch you on the next one.